Just a funny anecdote. For example, I'm not going to name any names, but I had a friend once who had a girlfriend and a car and had a job, and things were not so bad for him. But his attitude was bros before hoes, and don't trust anything that bleeds 7 days of the month. And he proactively mentioned it. You know what I mean? His girlfriend was tired of it, had an eye on me, and told him, "I'm gonna leave you for Antoine because I love him compared to you." And this guy told me, "Please don't go out with her. It's bros before hoes, or you know what I mean." So I was like, okay, I wasn't really interested anyways. Not that she was bad looking or anything. I wasn't looking at the time. Shit happens, right? I had other girls in mind, or too much in mind, work, or I wasn't even looking. So I was like, okay, it's fine. I won't take your girlfriend. You know, and I wasn't looking, right? But one day, a few years later, I started to date this girl, and he dared steal her away from me. And uh, she ended up divorcing him and stole his house, his car, kept the kids. Mostly, he sees his boy for what, once a week, once every 2 weeks, something like that. She owns his ass basically in the divorce, and I'm like, yeah, good for you. That's what you get. That's the same girl that, you know, uh, and uh, and the funny thing is, that girl's girlfriend is proactively telling some of my guy friends, I am the one who paired those two up to get her away from Antoine because I love Antoine. It's like, wow, girls are trying to split me away from a girl just because they want me. It's that bad, it's what it is. And it's all, like I said, I've been facing a lot of crap over the years, and I just I can't believe some people's stupidity. And again, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in specific. It's just, for example, you say bros before hoes, or don't trust anything that bleeds 7 days of the month, and you complain that your girlfriend's leaving you. Maybe you should start to realize where's the fault. Who's at fault in that. And stop blaming other people and start looking at yourself. For your mistakes. You know what I mean. Stuff like that. It's just like, I can't. You know. It's like one of my cousins. I won't name his name, but he had a wife and a son. Instead of working or spending time with his family, spend most of his day on fucking FreeBSD, learning to hack and making an operating system out of FreeBSD, and praise the Bible. But he has a wife and son and doesn't even spend time with them mostly. So don't complain you lost them, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. You know, uh, I could, anyways. Just some example is, you look at some people, it's like, wow, and they say I'm crazy. Uh, I'm constant danger, I'm not scared. I don't fear danger, and it's like some people on the dark web. I threaten to burn my family to the ground if I dare reprint them. I got terrorists in Africa, chanting, gang in whole crowd chanting on their TV, death to Antoine and death to his family, and Antoine has no right to mate and stuff like that. I've seen that live from the White House, and it's stuff I have to deal with. And I just warn India investors, I have to put some things on hold for now because I'm hit with some terrorist acts. Nothing is really canceled. Just some things may be put on hold for now, for safety reasons. They remove their investment. They back away. I can't necessarily blame them because at the end of the day, they want business, right? They want money. But how am I supposed to stay afloat when I'm constantly hit with some crap like that? I'm just trying to be an honest business owner. You're an honest person and a good citizen, And you know, I'm starting to realize, I'm just doing too much for nothing, for myself. But whatever, I don't want to cancel anything because I know a lot of people are hoping, and a lot of people are praising me and respect me, and in Canada at least, and in India, I see there's some good people out there. It's not everybody, So again, if the shoe fits, right? I don't want to spend a whole day being negative and complaining, but you have to put yourself in my shoes. Very depressing, and I don't know what else to do. You know what I mean? It's like, when will I ever have a day? I was saying online, when am I gonna have a good day, for crying out loud, in my life? After all I've been through, when will I ever have a goddamn good day? When will I ever get a kiss from a girl? They always get shot or killed, or you know what I mean? And it's like, when am I gonna have a little happiness in my life? Look at all of the lengths I've been through just to have one kiss. You know what I mean? I goddamn invented a machine that reprints a whole person's body just in the hopes to finally get laid proper. And, people still complain and try to stop me and blame me that I'm stealing all the girls. Even my wife tells me, you're queer, not the one you have to shower with the girls. Because even my wife understands, like, at this point, with the I don't hate all gay people. Some are really nice and would never abuse a child, but there's a lot of gay child molesters out there, all in the dark web. It's a fact. And they're all very angry with me, and they have been using me and recording me on my phones and devices and selling some of my porn on the dark web, catching me at private moments and recording me and selling me online. And I can't even have justice because the police don't have the power enough to handle such volume of crimes, right? There's only so much they can do. It's like, I'm used for a doormat all my life, and people still complain to me all the time. It's like, some hackers, watch me in front of their girlfriends jerk off for 12 hours and don't work a day's life. All they do is hack people's accounts and steal money, and watch me jerk off for 12 hours in front of their girlfriends and get mad at me that their girlfriend decides to leave them for me, want to cut my head off, sell it on the dark web, and they're a bitch to me that I stole their girlfriend without even sleeping with their girlfriend. It's just an example of what I'm going through right now. It's like, it's not everybody. A lot of people in the country or elsewhere in the world would have my back. A lot of good people out there, but it's just the bad people I'm facing. It's like, you know, and some of these hackers never worked a goddamn day's life. They live the easy life. Just hacking people, and it is what it is, right? It's today's technology is, and I'm trying to invent tech that's serving as paranormal gear and way more secure and safe for your household, like phones and gaming consoles and media centers, or you know what I mean, computers. Or I'm designing chips that are encrypted and have AI and have a lot more performance, and still, again, it's not enough, right? It's like, still hit with market drains. It's like, I quit. You know what I mean? At that point, I don't want. Nothing is canceled, but it's like, I quit personally. Trying for a little while, I guess. It's like, you try to do something. It's just, there's always someone making you take two steps back, and it's very frustrating. It's very, you know, and I appreciate my wife for being there, and GTF2 and my father's, and I got a little visit from my dad today, and God's there, and I know my other dad, Justin, watches over me from afar. When he has time, he has other kids to handle, right? A lot of things, and I can't blame him for whatever happened in my life. Uh, so I appreciate the good people. I appreciate the town, for at least respecting me and complimenting me and voting for me in a way, having my back. I do appreciate that. I know a lot of people out there. I appreciate the government yesterday for having my back. I guess it's the bad people, right? It's some things will never change. That's the reality I have to face. So nothing is canceled, but I personally have to realize, I might never, my plans may never become a thing. I may never reaping my wife and kids and Jub Jub and the rest of my family, and because of safety concerns, I guess. And I, you could tell me, you could have guards, you could have this and that. And sometimes even that's not enough. When it's crowds that want to burn your family, right? It's. I know I'm not so bad in town. Edmonton is a pretty nice town, right? Most people are friendly. I know even criminals respect me mostly. Most of them. I know a lot of Hells Angels members personally, and they're cool. They're cool guys. And I heard some of them that did die from cancer, and I'm sorry to hear that. Some of the guys I met who were members. I know it's kind of different. I studied law enforcement, but my friends are all like Hells Angels or related to the criminal underground. But it is what it is. You can't stop from making friends, right? No matter what background you're in. It's just business. It's a market. It is where it is, right? Uh, it is where it is, right? Uh, and I don't blame them for choosing crime because there's not a lot of work and in this town, right? You know what I mean. It is where it is. A lot of factors come into play. It's a retired town. Mostly small businesses here and there, but we only have like Walmart to kind of and Superstore to kind of like balance everything out, right? There's not a lot of places to buy clothes, for example, a few stores, but it's mostly retired. There's not a lot of factories. There's a mill, but there's not a lot of employment, and most people in town have to resort to like selling drugs or you know stealing or recycling copper, for example, or stuff like that, right? It is what it is. It's been retired. It used to be a lot busier. Like in downtown here, where close to where I live, there used to be like 7 bars, and now there's just one. They all shut down. Lack of business, right? People don't go out anymore. It's cheaper to go to the liquor store, and you know, uh, not a lot of people go out anymore. It is what it is, right? Uh, and plus, I don't want to sound inoffensive, but when I look at who goes at the bar, I all I can say is I can't necessarily blame the young generation to go out. It's nothing personal. It's just mostly retirees that will go to the bar. It's nothing personal. It's just like a single person younger than me wouldn't see necessarily a benefit of going out just because there's not someone single of their age that's gonna go out. It is what it is, right? You know what I mean? It's nothing personal. The elderly, I respect them. But it's the market itself. It's just the town uh, has gone down a little bit. Is what it is. It's nothing personal, right? Uh, so